Mr. Sweeney,
Here.
Dr. Willingham,
Here.
Dr. Moss, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Yes, I can. Everyone, right hand over your hearts. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I need a motion for approval of the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Okay. It's time for public comment, but we don't have any, right, Sonia?
No public comment at all.
All right. With that, we'll close public comment. Somebody joins later, we can always go back. We have no action items this month, but we have a bunch of information items. First one's enrollment report. And Doug?
Enrollment report, we have Creekview at 621, Mountain View 557, Ranch View at 825, Gracie Oakley 629. We're over our 2,600 mark, continue growing slowly, which is fantastic. Our interdistrict transfers have decreased. We are down approximately 15% over this time last year in interdistrict transfers. And we have received a couple of emails of people who are wanting to transition back to us starting in January. Who have been further afield. Let's say Glendale. One was Glendale. One was, sorry, the name of it just went completely out of my head. Burbank area. That whole cluster that's up there, they are looking to go ahead and bring their students back to Mountain View School District. Even if we're still on virtual at that particular point in time, they would prefer to have a virtual program that is local versus virtual out there. So again, the purpose originally for a lot of the interdistrict transfers that we were having were people moving or heading out every morning to work, dropping their kiddos off at either childcare or at school-based childcare. The kiddos would go to school, they'd pick them up at the end of the workday and then drive back specifically to Ontario Ranch. Since that's not happening to the level it was happening before, and because of virtual, it's changing what they're looking for, and they would like for their students to be returning to district. So those are positive trends for us. And again, the growth is significantly over what both from the interdistrict transfer decrease as well as internal growth is greater than we had for our projections.
Very good. Do we have any questions?
No.
Okay. Student staff attendance. Back to you, Doug.
So our September 1st through 30th, all groups are at or above 92%. Some are coming in at 95% or above. So we're very happy to see that. This is normally the time of year. So without talking about COVID, this is normally the time of year when we start to see both cold and flu becoming more prevalent the following reporting month. So often we see the September 1st through the 30th as a good baseline number, and then we begin to see hits on attendance as we go from October all the way through February, which is our prime cold and flu season. So I wish everyone health and that everyone stays healthy and that we can maintain our 92% or greater even during COVID, flu, and common cold season.
Good. Any questions?
I have one, Ron.
No.
Sure. Mike?
Once again, that classified part-time at 3 different sites is well below 90 in the 83 to 85 range. Any reason for that, Dr. Moss?
I'm going to pass that on to Jeremy.
Yeah, we have a number of part-time classified staff who have sought out the federal leave related to COVID, primarily for childcare issues. And so that's been approved. They have a right to that through the Family First Act that the Congress passed. And so we have probably almost 15 or 20 people somewhere in there. It changes day to day, but all part-time staff, all seeking leave of absence right now. So that's the primary reason.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Next item is financial statement. Stephen?
This is just the October statements. There's really nothing major to note since our last meeting.
Do you have any questions for Stephen?
Nope.
Nope.
Their set of books is okay too?
Perfect.
Okay, good. Good to hear. All right. The next 5 items will combine. These are first readings. Dr. Moss?
I know I have given you all very long reading assignments. There's a lot to all of those. However, the vast majority can be clumped into two different groups. One is specific federal and state responses to COVID-19 and how those might ultimately change certain aspects of policy. That's actually the smaller of the two. The largest is due to state action. We are having to change gender and gender references in all public policy. So what that means is, whereas previously you may have seen student he, student she, you may have seen he, she, you may have even seen they from gender-specific pronouns. State changes in law have then moved policy towards neutral and simply term title. What term title means is, instead of saying students will need to complete da-da-da-da-da, and afterwards they will simply refer to they. Now you'll see students, students, students. It winds up being repeated. So when we were in school, that was called bad language. Our teachers would say, you need to use a pronoun. A pronoun replaces a proper noun, and you would use the appropriate gender-specific pronoun based upon the reference point. So we all taught that to our students in school, and it's all what we learned in school. However, that has changed. So instead, you're going to go ahead and see the specific reference. If it is student, it'll simply continue to say student. It won't switch to he or she, because for a while we just changed all he's to she's to go ahead and show gender balancing. And then there was a he, she, and then there was a they. Instead, you're going to see the proper noun being utilized throughout policy. You're not going to see as many pronouns being used. And this again is a policy shift in Sacramento. And because the policy shifts in Sacramento and recommendations from legal counsel, that then ultimately is recommendations from CSBA onto all of the districts. So interestingly, as we were changing this in the process, I received one of the advocacy groups ask me for specific information on our gender neutrality language that's utilized in our board policy. And I said, so happy that you emailed me. We're in the midst of changing those. They're for first reading to our Board of Trustees. And based upon first reading, if they are to be adopted, that information will be public over the next couple of months. And they thank the board for being proactive in their approach and in their reading of board policy. So I wanted to pass that on, but this is a hot button topic, and there's a lot of advocacy groups out there specifically looking for that gender neutral language, which again is simply a repetition of the proper noun throughout a document versus use of pronouns.
Any questions?
Nope.
All right, thanks, Doug. Again, a lot of work, and we appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I suppose you did it all in New Mexico while you're on a
I would love
flying.
to say that I did it in New Mexico while riding a horse.
There you go.
However, I chose to complete all of these before I left for New Mexico. So I made sure they were all completed before leaving for Albuquerque.
Very good. Next item is the comprehensive safe school plans for our 4 schools. First reading. Jeremy. Jeremy, you're on mute.
There we go. It wasn't selected. There we go. This is the first reading for our annual updates of our comprehensive safe school plans. All sites have gone through, worked through these plans to update them with their site safety teams, as well as taken them to their school site councils for review. And so these are presented to you for a first reading and will be brought back in November for approval.
Anything in particular you want to point out? I mean, I looked at it, but anything you want to highlight?
Each of the sites have a specific safety goal related, three goals related to their site specific plans and progress. A lot of them focused on social emotional this year and trying to make sure that students are feeling safe and connected. And so there's been a lot of tying back into with our PBIS teams and things like that. So I was good to see them kind of look creatively as we are in a distance learning environment on how to still make their safe school plans impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Got any questions?
Got one.
No.
Mike?
Jeremy, will the safe school plans be on display at the district office?
Yes, they are on display in my office. I have a binder that has all 4. And so anybody who wants to come and take a look at them can. You have them in your packet for your review, but we do have them available as well. And then once they are approved, our sites will post them on their websites.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Now a career changer if it's done wrong. The Williams Settlement Act. Jeremy, you gotta come off mute.
I'm good.
Okay.
Happy to report all zeros.
Very good. We're happy to report you're still employed.
All right.
0 is our hero on this one. So absolutely.
0 on
is the
Williams
hero.
and 0 change orders. That's my goal each year.
There you go. All right. Mountain View School District Communications. Before we do this, I want to say, considering everything that's going on, I thought all the school communications were very well done. So, good job, everyone. It's tough, no students around trying to make it all work, but it looked good. So who should we call on first? Since Judith has her hand up, I'll go Judith first. You have to go off mute, Judith. Judith, there you go.
I'll go first. We are in the midst of picture day. Today we had the littles come through and it was so exciting to see kids on campus. Every single person from afar was like, oh, wow, there's kids. And we had kindergartners. So I stood outside and greeted the kindergartners and said hi to their parents. And they were so cute. And tomorrow we're also doing picture day. It's our upper grade kids at that point. During October 26th through the 30th, we are having Red Ribbon Week. We do have an anti-bullying message posted on our website, and we'll be working on that throughout the week. Wear Red Day is that Wednesday, but we're also having fun things like hat day, wear a hat in your Zoom meeting. The best one is pajama day. So they literally roll out of bed and turn on their Zoom meeting. They don't even have to get dressed, which is pretty cool. And the one that I'm specifically looking forward to is on the 30th, we're having a drive-through Halloween parade. So the kids will drive through in their costumes, and we're all the teachers are going to stand out front in their costume. And as they exit, the PTO will be in mask and gloves. They will be handing them each a little treat, just to say hi and let them know we miss them terribly. Yeah, we've kind of hit the doldrums where we really miss the kids. So
yes, James.
Yeah, what time, Judith, on the 30th?
2:00.
What time?
Oh, you know what? Let me double check on that, James. I'll call you. I'm going to make a note of it right now.
Okay.
Yeah, send the time to all of us if you can.
I will send it to all of you. I want to double check. I don't want to give you the wrong time.
Don't send it to Chris.
Chris will be there with his kids and his wife.
Okay.
He'll be dressed up.
1:30. I think it says on here 1:30 to 2:30. That's all right.
That makes sense. Yeah, that does. So
1:30, James.
thank you for.
Okay, what date is that on now? What date is that on?
The 30th, Friday the 30th.
Okay.
So I'll figure out something cool to dress up in. It's our favorite holiday around here. We've been decorated for at least a month already. So, okay.
Speaking of that, in the street behind Mountain View School, if you go down that way, somebody bought that 12-foot skeleton that was at Home Depot, and it's out in front.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
the street that borders Mountain View right behind, it's one of those streets.
Okay.
Anyway, it's kind of cool. I digress. Okay. Was that it? Any questions for Judith? Okay, Christy.
Hello, how is everyone? As you guys know, October is Bullying Prevention Month, so our leadership students have been doing a great job in sharing messages and resources about bullying in their weekly broadcasts and on their social media platforms. Our clubs are meeting monthly now on a regular basis. Our Site Avid team and our PBIS teams are coming up with great resources and incentives for our students who demonstrate fantastic organizational skills and great behavior. First quarter for us just ended on Friday, so our teachers are working really hard to record grades and get ready to push out report cards at the end of the month, which will be on October 28th. And really, I can't begin to share how proud I am of our teachers, our staff, and our students. What we're doing is really, really hard, and I'm just so proud of everyone on our school site. So that's it on the Gracie Oakley site.
We got any questions for Christy? All right, Julie.
Good evening. At Branchview this month, we've worked on a few things. The PBIS team has created an online expectation video for the students, and it's starring several staff members. And that'll roll out in about a week. So we'll make sure you guys get a copy of that. We also are thinking different grade levels are working on iReady incentives for grade levels to ensure that the students get their minutes in to help them with reading and math. And our picture day is also on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And that'll be from 12:30 until 2:30. And Thursday, I believe, our monthly awards, our citizenship awards. What we're doing is we're mailing them monthly. One thing that we did find out, though, is that the mail went up, and it was only 59 cents. And now they all came back, and they're charging us $1.65 up to $3. So we're a little disappointed with that, and we're trying to. I want them to get these mailed to them because I think it's important. So we're doing it, but we just put a little more in our budget for stamps. So they're getting those. And then one of our classes, Miss Albanese, she has a 5-6 combo. They started up a newspaper club on their own, and their first edition of The Voice of the Wranglers out. So they're doing this on their own time. And I sent a copy to Dr. Moss, and it's a first edition, but it's just really sweet because you can really see that they put their heart and soul into it. So that's what's going on at Ranchview.
Very good. Any questions? Okay, Adrena. You're on mute, Adrena.
Okay, sorry about that. Good evening.
No problem.
I'd just like to say that in line with what everyone else is saying, our team at Mountain View is working very well together. One of the projects that I'm quite proud of is with our library media team. They've worked together with our support team, and they've put together a phenomenal curriculum room that is now housing all of our curriculum. It's been inventoried and reorganized, and it's all in one room. And what we also did is we scavenged our district to support that room using all of the shelving that wasn't being used at other schools. We brought it over to our site, and we were able to repurpose those shelvings to house our curriculum. So it's a really nice project that the library media team and support team worked together to get everything organized. They also created a really beautiful spreadsheet that now accounts for all of the inventory, and that allows us to be able to quickly be able to provide new curriculum to students when they come in a quick manner. And it also allows us to support our other schools when they need curriculum. We can quickly look at that inventory sheet and find out if we have the curriculum, as well as supporting reordering of curriculum. So they've done a phenomenal job with that. So I just wanted to share their accomplishments because they've been working very diligently to get that up and running, and it is now up and running. And you're welcome anytime to just come by and take a look at it. It's a really nice setup. Also with our coding club, it's back up and running. So our 4th and 5th grade team, they're also working to get the coding club back up and running in a virtual manner. So they're doing really good on that. And our first grade team is wanting to join in on starting a coding with our first grade. So the primary teachers are trying to do that as well. So I think that's a really good accomplishment there. National Bullying Month, our team is incorporating anti-bullying in their messages with their students throughout their day. So that is ongoing throughout this month. And we're going to have our second distribution to our community on the 21st and 22nd. So it will be a drive-through where parents can come through and then have items that need to go out to the community. They will be picking up those items. There were some books and things that they needed and some extra things that the teachers wanted to provide for their students. So that'll be on the 21st and 22nd in a drive-through manner. And on the 30th as well, we're going to have a trunk or treat. Our PTO is sponsoring a drive-through trunk or treat. So that's going to be a really good event. You're welcome to come out, and we'll have our trunks open and decorated, and students will be able to drive through and then pick up a treat bag at the end of the drive-through. So those are our events for October, the highlighted events for October.
Excellent. Any questions?
What time was what time is the trunk or treat? What time?
6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
I'm sorry?
6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay.
Mike, you had a question?
I just wanted, not a question, but a comment. I wanted to thank all 4 principals for highlighting anti-bullying. We can't ignore that subject with students being more and more adept with social media and on computers. The possibility for them to cyberbully is still there. So thank you for taking that effort.
Very good. And Christy, I want to say I was pleasantly surprised to see the runners out again. So that was nice to see. I don't know how many students you have, but it was nice to see any of them out there.
Thank you. We have about 6 runners so far, so.
Okay, well, you know, considering that's not bad.
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
And it'll grow.
It'll grow.
Very good, very good. I won't be there, but you know, maybe Chris will do it. Anyway, board communications. Let's just start with Maureen.
Nothing this month.
Okay, Chris.
I just want to give a vote of confidence to our principals. I know that the leadership looks very different this year, but the same attributes of strong leadership apply to every situation. And I see what you guys are doing within your schools and with your teachers, and I'm just vote of confidence to all of you.
Very good. Mike?
I recognize that these are very difficult and trying times. COVID-19 has created a new world for all of us, personally, professionally, socially, and educationally. Challenges have arisen and continue to arise almost daily. I know and understand how difficult these conditions are for our students, parents, administrators, and our highly valued teachers. Please understand that the best way for us to get through this is through teamwork and collaboration. I think if all of us utilize the wonderful minds that are within our teaching ranks, our parents at home who are working and struggling, our students at home, and our administrators, we do that together as a team in collaboration, we're going to get through this just fine. So these are tough times. We need to continue to work together. Good.
Thank you. James?
Yes, I have nothing to report other than with Creekview. I normally see most of the teachers, a fair amount of teachers on Thursdays. I see them probably at least 2 or 3 times a week. And I know they're doing the best they can. And all I can say is keep doing what you're doing. No problem at all.
Very good. I did visit a couple of schools, and it was, as always, interesting. The bullying is, as most of you know, is very dear to everyone's heart, but especially Mike and myself, since we spearheaded this many probably a couple of decades ago now when no one else was doing it. It's especially important this year, not only because of COVID and the increased use of social media, but the temperament of the country is such that bullying is on a rise, not picking on any one group or party or persons, but just in general civility. You see it in the stores, that's taking a back seat. You see it on the highways, it's taking a back seat. The kids are being exposed to so many negative elements from not only media, but even in their own lives as they're out and about. So it's important we keep our pedal to the metal on fighting bullying, because right now it's going the wrong way. It's getting worse than getting better. So I commend everybody on doing that. Also, I know we're going to touch base on this. I acknowledge that there's some issues with some of our new programs, but remember, the administration, all of you, technology is there to help. And I know I preached to the choir on this particular meeting, but if somebody's watching it, that they're here to help our educators evolve and move on with new programs. But I would remind the educators that if you were working with a student with new programs, you would take different points of view of how they could succeed, and then you would implement. But at the final end of the day, the student needs to learn the material. However he gets there, the teacher will help, but he needs to learn the material. And our educators need to learn that technology evolves and we need to evolve with it. So whatever we can do, and I know we're going to talk about this in closed session with a synergy team task force, but push comes to shove, we need to make sure our educators learn it and they need to implement it, because I've gotten several parents come to me and they're confused, and that's not what we're about. And not about miscommunications or one teacher says one thing, one teacher says something else. So we're going to work. Dr. Moss has a plan in place to address this issue. So we need to support that plan and support our educators. But in the end, they need to understand, things evolve and they need to evolve with it. So anyway, Dr. Moss.
On that one, I will be convening a Synergy task force that's specific for right now, specific for Synergy, where we will have certain administrators on that task force. We will also be inviting 1 or 2 teachers from each school site. The idea is to go ahead to create systems of support and solutions so that everyone's able to share in the wealth of information. We have different people doing things in different directions, and sometimes it's actually creating more challenge. So we want to make sure that we're supporting. We want to make sure that we have the support necessary. We have Synergy to assist us, but being able to have a task force and being able to field questions specifically from our teachers who are using it to teachers who are using it, and also administrators who have had different trainings, I believe is the best way for us to come together to create a solution set and move forward. We don't want our parents to be confused. We want to make sure that information is easy to access, but at the same time, any student information system is going to take time to implement. There are going to be hiccups. There have been hiccups. There are going to be more hiccups. It takes time to go ahead and wrinkle through those, but each hiccup is something that we have to deal with. And some of them are unique. Some of them are system-wide, and we have to identify and work through those. But it's certainly a work in progress, and but I will be sending more information out tomorrow specifically related to a task force, and we'll get on that. And not wanting to create more work for anybody, because that's the last thing anybody needs right now, and I recognize that. But I also feel that to smooth the way forward, we need to have a central group that is taking in the information and who are great thinkers when it comes to technology and all of our various technologies, because it's not just one. So we talk about Synergy, but it's also how everything plays together in the virtual sandbox. and learning how to make everyone kind of work in their virtual sandbox. So I'm learning, we're all learning on that one, even though we're now many months in to COVID-19. And as many of you have been listening to my messages that have gone out to the community and out to our staff, our numbers aren't looking good in San Bernardino County, and certainly not here in South Ontario. More specific number information will be coming out, but if you are following in certain sections of the news, if you're avoiding the news, that's okay. But if you are following certain sections of the news, you will see that there's been a dramatic increase in many states, and certainly throughout the world. There are places who crested, went down, and now are coming up into a second wave. We're not even in the second wave category yet. We just have a long ways to go before we can say we're out of the woods. And I say that not in a pessimistic way. That's where we are, and patience is required because people are at their wits' end. It's a very difficult work world if you're working in education and anything in education. I commend our principals. I commend the district office staff, all of our teachers. I commend our paraprofessionals, everybody who is assisting and supporting. Nobody is doing what they thought they would be doing this year. And every day there's something new that you're doing and you're really not sure if you're up for the challenge. And then you're told it doesn't matter because it's what it is, and that's difficult. And that's all the position that we're in. So a lot of support of each other is necessary. That's why I believe a task force is a productive means to bring us forward. But remember that with these challenging times, as Ron had mentioned, it brings us to a difficult place within ourselves. And a lot of people aren't sure how to handle that. And that results in bullying. And we see that a lot with the bullying component. And we want to make sure that we address bullying, because the virtual world is a whole new world when it comes to bullying. It's something that can happen in small groups. It's something that can happen on screen. It can happen off screen. It can happen in so many different ways. And remember, our students are much more versed in being able to handle the virtual world than we are. So while we're actively monitoring and actively doing everything we can to keep our students safe, some people are more adept at getting in and doing things. So it creates an ever higher level of vigilance, and we want to make sure that we respond to that and focus on that. With that, and talking with COVID and talking about bullying and talking about technology, it is important for all of us to come together, not just from a safety perspective, but all together to see what we need to go ahead and address next. Social emotional is the underpinning of all these different bullying components. And even though the state hasn't said specifically what every individual district should be doing from a social emotional perspective, we as Mountain View School District have always taken a proactive approach to social emotional, and we need to continue doing that. Again, the state wants us to get through our curriculum. The state wants us to address standards. The state wants us to use everything that we have had adopted, and that's what we're supposed to move forward with. But that's not the reality of where we are right now. And some of our students just need daily connection points and the encouragement to be able to move forward. Our teachers need daily connection points just to be able to move forward. Our administrators need to be able to have that, because each day is a different day and a new adventure. We talk about the bullying, we talk about social emotional. It's not just an all kumbaya, it's being ever vigilant that we have to be kind and that we have to work in progressive ways forward. We do need to be monitoring each other and how we go about things, because in stressful situations, we sometimes don't respond the way we wish to respond. So I encourage everyone, parents who are watching this, students who are watching this, all of our staff, we are all together. And everyone is doing the very best job they can at this particular moment. And 2 minutes from now, it's a totally different world. We need to support each other in all those minutes. So I thank you for the work that you have done. It's an uncertain future, but we're going to walk it together, and we will find solutions as we work together. Those solutions will be easier for us to be able to see. So again, thank you, administrators, thank you, teachers, thank you, parents, thank you, students. I believe we're doing the very best job we possibly can in Mountain View. So thank you.
And echo that. Thank everyone. Stephen.
Only one thing. On Friday, I think Friday, we got word that the summer feed program had been extended from the end of the calendar year to the end of the fiscal year. So we will be able to provide a meal to all students age 0 to 18 until the end of the school year. So obviously getting meals out to the community is great. And just it's nice to know that it's been extended and that through the end of the year, anybody who needs a meal can come get a meal. That means even a parent can come pick it up for a student as opposed to having to have the student here to input their student ID. So just some good news on that end.
Thank you. Very good. Jeremy.
Yeah, I have no comments tonight. Thank you.
What was that little black thing you had behind you there in a minute? It's kind of your Halloween.
That's the energy efficient lights turning off by themselves because I sat still too long.
Okay. Very good. Karen.
Good evening. Just a few things from Ed Services. I want to thank all the staff across the district for their perseverance during this time. As everyone's mentioned, it's very challenging, but it's definitely for the benefit of our students and our families. So I just appreciate everyone. In our professional learning communities, our teachers have been focusing on learning loss as indicated in the continuity plan. This is a state requirement that we are to address learning loss. So Skip Elder has been working directly, put together some great activities for our teachers to identify students who have learning loss and then come up with targeted plans for students to repair that. And then on October 26th, we have 3 different professional development offerings for our teachers. We are moving forward with our math training through the county. It's all focused on how to provide instruction virtually for students. And then our next generation science standards training as well for our middle school. Same thing, teaching NGSS virtually. And then our iReady trainers are coming back virtually, of course, to do training with our teachers on diagnostics, and they're targeting 4th through 6th grade and then 7th and 8th grade math and ELA departments. So that will be happening on October 26th.
Very good. Thank you. Jan.
Hi, nothing to report at this time.
Okay. We'll go into the consent agenda. Unless trustee, superintendent, or the public has a question concerning a particular item and asks to be withdrawn from the consent agenda, items that are considered routine in nature are approved at one time by the governing board. Does anybody have any item that they will have wish to have withdrawn for communications, separate communications? Okay, with none, do I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Second. No second. A lot of you are on mute, so if you're seconding, I can't hear you.
I second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Oppose, abstain. Okay. Dr. Moss, everyone that's attending closed session knows who they are.
Yes, I have communicated with them.
Okay, great. Okay, we'll adjourn the regular session into closed session. Next meeting will be 7 p.m. at hopefully at Mountain View School, Elementary School, at the Jill Coulter Memorial Auditorium. We really need to try to make that happen, Dr. Moss, if at all possible, for some obvious reasons that we've already discussed.
What I have done at this point for that meeting is generally depends upon your level, your color level in the county. If we continue to be at purple up to the date of that meeting, we do have the ability to do another technology trick that I'm learning about, which would be to hold the meeting in public, and then it would be limited in attendance in public, but live simulcast on YouTube, so that we basically have both systems running at the same time. So that is something I'll be working on. That is if we aren't able to 100% gather, even with a limited number and spacing we'll have no matter what. But if we do have restrictions in place, I'm working on a hybrid approach in which we would be able to meet and also have a live simulcast going on at the same time.
You're
If at
ready
all
to pivot.
possible, please.
Yes.
Okay.
So
All right. With that, we'll adjourn. Go vote. If you haven't voted already, whoever, whatever you want to vote for, it doesn't matter. Just vote. Okay. With that, we'll adjourn into a closed session. And good night to everybody's not in closed session.
Thank you.
All right.
All the
Goodbye,
principals
everyone.
night,
are-
everyone.
All the principals are getting out of here. We'll wait a few seconds.
Night.
Night.